Hello, my fellow speakers. This is Brian, the speaker for the dead, coming to you tonight with a video that I didn't want to make. Yeah, I know. And then you're just like, then why are you? Well, because I can't ignore it any longer. I didn't want to talk about it because I've kind of mentioned it in videos before, and everybody's talking about it right now. So it felt a little bit like I was just piling on and doing what everybody else was doing, and I just thought, I don't know what I can add to this conversation. So, um, but I guess I have my own opinion, and I'll tell you what I think. Well, think about what? You're babbling, Brian. You guys should be used to that by now. No, but anyway, it's Terminator. Terminator Dark Fate. So, why am I talking about it? Well, like I said, one, everybody's talking about it. Two, I don't know. Because this is a movie from the moment I heard it was coming, no interest, none. And this is coming from a guy who loved Terminator 2, even kind of liked Terminator Salvation. Thought the acting was good, the story was kind of interesting. It was different, it was unique. It wasn't the same old thing they've been doing this whole time. Never saw Genesis. Saw Terminator 3, hated it, thought it was awful. Just a piss poor follow up to one of the greatest sci-fi action films ever made, which is what Terminator 2 is. I mean, it is iconic as far as science fiction action and stuff. I mean, it's in one of my videos the other day, I was talking about sequels that outdo the originals. Terminator's definitely one of them. Terminator 2 Judgment Day far surpasses the original. The original was a good, kind of creepy, scary sci-fi action / almost horror film. But Terminator 2 took that story, what was done in that, and just took it to a whole new level. And was absolutely fantastic. I remember going to the theater with, it was my sister's boyfriend at the time. Everybody else had gone to some like wedding reception thing, and I was just like, I don't want to go to this. I had no interest in going, and nothing against the person who was getting married or whatever. I just didn't care. There's nothing there for me. I was not interested in it at all, and neither was he. And my sister was going, and so he was basically just like, "Hey, Brian, you want to get out of here and go do something?" And I'm like, "Yes, please." So he saved me, and his name was Brian too, so we had that in common. So we went to see a movie. He took me to see a rated R movie, which was Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And I remember, because I'd seen little bits and pieces of the first one when I was growing up. I was about 10 when the first one came out, and I didn't really know that much about it. I knew little bits, but my family wasn't real big on watching rated R movies, particularly my mom. My dad was like, meh. But so I never really seen all of the first one. And then here I am sitting in the second one going, am I going to understand? Because he wanted to go to this. And I'm like, am I going to understand what's... He's like, yeah, you'll get it. I'm sure you'll get it. And I did. It was awesome. I remember sitting there just like, probably the whole time, just because it was groundbreaking special effects, something that nobody had really seen or a lot of or done before, which James Cameron is kind of well known for that. He kind of pushes the envelope with special effects in every film that he does. I mean, he did Avatar, Titanic, he did all these big films. In fact, most of the big films that were blockbusters, top of the record charts, were James Cameron films until Endgame beat him out. And basically Endgame beat him out by taking 2 bites of the apple and just kind of, trying to push itself along and get the numbers. But anyway, and I liked Endgame. It was good, not as good as Infinity War, but that's a different series. But anyway, so I had no interest in this film. I mean, none. From the day it was announced, I was just like, okay, because they've kind of just Terminatored me out to death, if that isn't too on the nose, because it's just Arnold's aging out of it, so he can't be what he once was, and the CGI thing, they can only do so much with that, and it's too bad. But anyway, there are going to be spoilers in this. If you haven't seen the movie, don't watch the rest of this, but there will be some spoilers. I haven't seen the film, probably never going to see the film, so you're going to say, why are you commenting on it? Because I don't need to see a film in today's world to be able to comment on it. I know enough about the plot, I know enough about the story, seen enough reviews, read enough interviews with the actors, done all that. I've done all the research, and it makes me want to see this movie even less. Because the director came out a few months ago and just went off the deep end. He's just like, oh, yeah, if you're a white cisgender male, blah, 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 Grace is going to scare the F out of you. Grace, if you don't know, is supposed to be the main protagonist, good guy that gets sent back in time to protect the person that has to be protected for the future to survive. Which, by the way, isn't John Connor anymore. No, John Connor gets killed like anywhere from 5 or 15 minutes into the film. I've heard different varying numbers. Yeah. It's after Terminator 2, so basically they went back and went, we don't like all these other movies. And erased them and just went on with a whole new, like, we're going to pretend those other 3 movies didn't happen. And this is supposed to take place right after Judgment Day, or Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So they've saved the world. They've stopped Judgment Day, they think. And now they go and Sarah Connor and John Connor are on a beach somewhere, and they're lounging around, just enjoying themselves and the respite that they think that they've deserved. And then all of a sudden, Arnold T-800 comes out of the crowd, blows John Connor away with a shotgun, kills him, and walks away. That's it. And Sarah Connors is, just stuck there, and then it just pans away, and we end up in a different storyline. So, and now they've replaced John Connor, one of the iconic characters of this series, with little Mexican girl chick. Just let that sink in. We had to kill off the white hetero boy in favor of a Latina. I'm going to get you, and I'm going to, I'm mad now, and I'm going to fight. There's this horrible part in the videos where, in the trailers and stuff like that I've seen, where it's like, I'm going to fight. Well, that's good, because she sure as hell can't act. Why would you do this? So they've made this movie. Nobody wants to see it. The director's pissed off half the fans of the film by like attacking the fan base, white men in general that are going to come and try and see this film. He's attacked his own fan base, which seems to be Hollywood's new modus operandi for how they're going to deal with movies and making movies and publicizing movies and stuff in the future, is they're going to go out of their way to crap on the very people that they want to come and pay money. You see, that's how detached from reality these so-called creative people are, is that they think in their tiny little brains that they're going to propagandize us. And they're going to tell us what we can and can't think, and what we can and can't like, and what we can and can't say. And if you go against the grain, well, they're going to call you names, they're going to attack you, and they're going to do it in their film. And if you say anything about the crap that they're spewing in their film, well, you're just a hater, a man baby. We've all heard the terms. If you're familiar with the fandom menace, which I consider myself to be a part of, we've all heard the terms. We've got it. We're the worst. We used to be called fans. We used to be called how you made your money. But, so this film is proving the adage that has come about in the last few years: go woke, go broke. So this movie cost roughly around $185 million to make. And so far, the count for the first opening weekend sits roughly at 28 million, which for a big budget, heavy action film is, wow, it's pathetic. It is so bad for this movie that got all this hype, got all this stuff. Girls. So let's just go take a look. I'm going to pull up some images, and I'm going to want to walk down memory lane here for a minute with everybody. And then we're going to get more deeply into the weeds. But let's just let's take a look at this here and see how things are. Now we all remember this image, right? This is Terminator, the original. This is the image from the original film, Terminator. Do you remember when Terminator was cool? Do you remember when this image brought a chill to your spine? And you get that tingly, that ominous. That's what the T-800 did. That's what Arnold's character did in those original movies. It was crazy good. So this is back in the good old days. This is 1984 they made this movie. Like I say, I was about 10 years old at the time. And then in 1992, they brought us Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which we've already been talking about. So just look at this picture for a minute. John Connor as a little boy, Arnold Schwarzenegger right in his prime. You've got Robert Patrick's T-1000 in the background and Linda Hamilton, the badass version of Linda Hamilton, in this. This is when Linda Hamilton, really brought it. And I love to see that transition from the character she was in the beginning to what she became in this movie. Because in the original movie, she starts out as like a waitress, just a quiet, calm-mannered, just sweet and innocent, just a normal girl going about her lives, doing her thing. And then through that movie, where she meets Kyle Reese, the Terminator comes after, she goes through this stuff, Kyle dies, she ends up killing the Terminator by crushing it in a press and stuff like that. At the end of the movie, she survives, and then at the beginning of this one, we find her in a mental institution. Years have gone by, she has changed and altered, she has become this freedom fighter, knows about weapons, knows about all this stuff because she knew from Kyle Reese that she was going to have to train her son to be the ultimate resistance fighter, to survive and to lead mankind in the war that was to come, the war of machines. Just sit here and think about that for a minute. That premise. It's actually given me chills to talk about it. And then she gets to this point, and then we all know what happens in Judgment Day, and if you don't, are you living under a rock? Awesome film. Just so many good scenes. Here we get the chase where they've just blown up the bad guy in a truck that's been chasing him. He almost gets John a couple of times, and he's rescued by this T-800 that's been sent back and reprogrammed. Look at that image. You're basically looking down the barrel of a shotgun with Arnold Schwarzenegger and his kid looking at him like, what is going on here? Just great acting, just good. Everything was awesome in this film. But then, we started out this movie with this sequence where we actually watch the war against the machines. Now, in my opinion, this is what they should have done. for this movie, if they wanted to reboot it, make it better, do this stuff, show what happened to make John who he was. Because you get into this time thing, and I think there's a way of doing it so that no matter what they did, Judgment Day was always going to happen. Because it's already happened. I mean, you get into that time loop thing where, you can't send the Terminators back to change the past if John it seems like it should have happened anyway, and this is where they should have started. They should have shown us where John rises to be the leader, leads the human revolution, and start the films from that point, and show in the next couple of films how he won the war against the machines. Because you watch this sequence, and the sound effects, the guns, the machines, that sound that they make, I can't do it. I can't do it justice. And I'm sure that sounded terrible. But, I mean, it's just so good. So good what they're doing here. And this is how they start the film out. I mean, it takes you, boom, you're right into it. It shows you the skulls and stuff. All of a sudden, boom, skull gets crushed by a machine, and you're into this scene. Fantastic. Which leads us to this kid who's and I just lost his name. He's the main, one of the main kids, Edward Furlong. Sorry, I knew I had it here. So it's Edward Furlong is the kid that plays this, and I'm not big on children actors. Most of the time, I'm just like, children actors kind of are a hit and miss for me. You got Short Round from the Indiana Jones movies. He was awesome. Goonies and kids movies like that. They find some really talented kids to do this, and this kid was excellent for this role and did a great job as John Connor. And then here we are. Here we see Sarah Connor becoming the person who was going to train the man who would eventually save the world, because his father was dead. So she took on both those roles. And just such she's such a monster in this film. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, just a monster character. So good. Did really great. Acting was just superb. But this is what we remember. This is what we want, Hollywood. And you should know that. I mean, how stupid you have to be to screw this up. To screw up an excellent science fiction action film. But I mean, we've got the scenes where the T-1000 comes in, and here he is. This guy, Robert Patrick, was so good as the Terminator. I mean, the ultimate menacing character. I remember when I was seeing this the first time with Brian, I was like, I thought he was the hero, because I knew that Kyle Reese was smaller than the original T-800. So I remember I was sitting there in the theater going, oh, well, there's the good guy. And I was just like, oh, he just knocked that cop out. Nah, he whacked him and stuff like that. And it took a while till you see them come together to realize who's protecting who. I mean, it was done so well. Like, you really didn't know who was going to take him out. I mean, at least I didn't as a kid. And it was so good to have that just like, whoa, what just happened? And then, I mean, it was just so good. And he did such a good job. He kind of became defined by this role, which is a little sad because you never saw him in too much else. I remember him in X-Files and Stargate, Atlantis, and a couple others. But I never saw him a lot. And which is sad because he really did such a good job with this character. And then we get this scene with Arnold with the minigun. Just... like I said, how can you go from this to little Hispanic girl, androgynous woman, and old Sarah Connor? Seriously, because that's what leads us to this. Because now they went back and got rid of the other movies. Those apparently didn't happen. Salvation, Genesis, Terminator 3. They've just kind of went, we don't want those, like I said before. And now you've got Hispanic guy as the new Terminator, the TRX 550 or whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares? And then you've got androgynous chick with one facial expression. Oh, wait. Actually, she has two. She has this one. And this one. I'll show you that one in a minute. Really quality acting from this poor woman who was silly enough to take this role. And then you got Arnold. I still love Arnold, but he's just... What they did with him... They made him a token character in the franchise he made famous. Seriously? Oh, that's right. He's a white cisgender male. So, I mean, he likes girls. Who does that anymore? Girls? Ugh. Girls are supposed to like girls. Don't you know that? Apparently, in Hollywood, that's all that's allowed. Anyway, so this is what we get. We get these... characters, and oh, isn't that look cool? She's got a chain wrapped around her arm. She's holding a hook, because we all know you can kill machines with a hook. What? All right. Anyway, so that brings us to Daniela, and they call her Danny. Her dad gets whacked, and her brother gets killed. And, yeah. And she goes, I'm going to fight. That line, just every time I see her say that line in the trailers and stuff, it's just like, oh no, we're all scared now. I mean, it's just like, ooh. Yeah, director, he really should do a second take. Please do a second take. Actually, just please don't make this movie. Can you do that? Just stop making these movies. Now, James Cameron was only involved in this movie in name only. And I guess him and this director clashed over what was going on here and why he didn't just come in and go, get the hell out. I'll do this myself. Or I'm going to go find somebody who has a brain and wants to make a really good film that doesn't have to be filled with politics and crap. Because here's the crazy story. She's the new leader of the future resistance. Except no, she's going to be the mother of the future leader of the future resistance. Because see, Judgment Day isn't going to happen now. Not the way we thought. Now, Skynet was never built. So it doesn't exist anymore. But now a new program has arisen called Legion. Legion. Doesn't that just sound so much more terrifying? No, not really. Anyway, so this just goes back to this whole, they didn't need to do this. This was stupid. You're a bunch of retards, Hollywood. And the writers and the directors who are anywhere near this, you deserve to have this fail and flop. And I hope it hangs around your neck like a millstone and drags your career into the toilet. But knowing Hollywood, he'll be given the next Star Wars films. Because in Hollywood, you fail up. You don't get fired. You don't have your career ended like you should, be driven out of town on a rail, never to actually darken the screen of movie theaters again. No. You're given a big contract. Because we all know you didn't fail because you suck. You failed by accident. It was just, you were just ahead of your time. We haven't completely brainwashed the public yet to believe in all of this nonsense. Anyway, so this is our new hero. Why have this? Or, why have, let me go back here and just, scroll through 1,000 pages. Why have this? I mean, this white kid, this white boy kid, I mean, why would you want that? I mean, what would possess anybody to want that when you can have this? Huh? So this was the main picture that was the big promo for this movie. And androgynous chick in the center. I'm not sure if she's a man or a woman. They've taken, and I've said this before, this is the new thing. They're glamorizing the character of Pat from Saturday Night Live. nobody knows what I am. I could be a man. I could be a woman. And nobody knows. And then Sarah Connor, which I hear her acting's terrible in this. She hasn't, I mean, her heart's not in this, you know that it's not, and it's so sad to see what they've done to her. I love Linda Hamilton. She was great. She was in some good movies. I'm sorry, Linda. I realized you were trying to just make a paycheck and, you know, to have a little success, but run. And then Danny, the hero nobody asked for, the hero that nobody asked for, that nobody wanted, and nobody is going to see, apparently. So even the SJWs, who are so big into this stuff, just making sure that everyone is represented. But are you going to go see the movie? Well, no. But that doesn't matter. It's just important that gets made. I mean, that's the really important thing. It's we have to get made. Because then those people get those money checks, and it's so good for them, and they can give it back to their community. And I should stop doing this voice now, shouldn't I? Well, I'll stop doing the voice when you stop making these movies. Deal? I'm serious. I'll make you that deal. Oh, and here's not scary new Terminator. Like I said, and I could go back and do a side-by-side. Robert Patrick or this guy. Does he look intimidating to you? Would you be afraid of this guy? Even in the skeleton form, it's just like, what is he, like 5'7"? 5'7"? That's intimidating. Terrible. What are we going to do? Oh, there's her other expression she wears in this film. Am I doing it right? And then Danny. I don't know what to do. I'm a little girl, but I'm going to fight. So here we are back at the beginning with Arnold. I want to take that bad taste out of your mouth by showing you what you loved as opposed to what nobody loves, nobody wants, everybody hates. Oh, see, there's Robert Patrick, the real bad guy Terminator. Anyway, this movie is set to flop. This movie is going down like the Titanic, and deservedly so. I hope it fails. I hope it flops. And it won't be the first this year. I mean, 2019, I keep saying it. It's the year that we're going to look back and just think everything went to hell. Entertainment, culture, all of it. It was going that way, but 19 is when it really just went. Somebody hit the overdrive button, and we drove straight into crazy town. Nobody knows what bathroom to use. Nobody knows what gender they are. Nobody knows anything that used to be common sense. Common sense is not common anymore. It is uncommon sense. And I think that's what we need to start referring to it as, because it's not common at all anymore. It has been bred out of us. I hate to say this, but it's the first time in my life where I'm not proud to be an American. I'm proud to be who I am. But I'm not proud of our country right now. And the actions of the people. And I guess I should take that back. I'm not proud of the people in this country anymore. They're an embarrassment. But not the way the liberals think. America itself, the ideals, the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, all of that stuff is still wondrous. It's still amazing. It's still as great as it ever was. But what we've chosen to do with our freedom is just despicable. So I don't want to leave this on a down note. Just think, if enough of these fail, they'll stop making them. Because they can't keep this up. I mean, Gemini Man, I guess, is in the toilet, which is another film from Paramount. I don't know. I don't really care to go to a Will Smith movie much anymore. I used to really like Will Smith, and now he's just doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, I didn't want to see him as the genie. I sure as heck don't want to see him as a young version and an older version of himself. And now we have Terminator Dark Fate, which is perfectly named because the fate for this movie was definitely dark. And it's going down. So everybody cheer as this Hindenburg goes down in flames, and deservedly so. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel about Terminator Dark Fate. Do you have any? Did you see it? Was there any hopefulness to it at all? I mean, because like I said, I'm not wasting my money on Hollywood to go see crap films anymore. Not even to review them, because I don't want that rot in my brain. And I'll let some other people go and give me the information that I need to tell you what I think about it. And that's the best way to do it. I mean, why? Don't give these people money. We'll let a few fools go and pollute their brain with this stuff and then tell us about it. And then we can talk about it and, make the judgment calls for ourselves. Anyway, have yourself a great night, and we will talk to you next time. Bye now.